Now I'd ask Craig Shirley, class of 1978, to come forward. It should be no surprise to anyone here who knows Craig that Craig is one of the 2005 recipients of the Distinguished Alumnus Award. For more than 2 decades, involved professionally in politics and government at the congressional, gubernatorial, and presidential levels. Founding partner of the consulting firm of Shirley, Bannister Public Affairs in Washington, D.C., whose clients include many major national corporations and organizations. Frequently sought after commentator and speaker on politics in Washington, D.C. Craig emerged in the national spotlight when his book, Reagan Revolution, The Untold Story of the Campaign That Started It All, hit the bestseller list of the Washington Post amidst critical acclaim in such publications as the New York Times, the Washington Times, and the Wall Street Journal. A documentary based on the book is in the works, and Craig is at work on another book. Craig Shirley, we are proud to present you with the Springfield College Distinguished Alumnus Award for 2005.
Break it, it's your problem. You get the 7 years bad luck. Thank you, Charlie and Mitch. Good evening. Dr. Flynn, members of the Board of Trustees, honored guests, and you, the members and friends of the Springfield College family. Thank you for this honor and the opportunity to be here with you tonight. Having this chance to talk to you reminds me of what my father used to say in such a situation. At last, a captive audience. Of course, he was also always mindful of his audience and his reason for being there, and I will thus follow his lead. Or what British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli once told a young backbencher who asked about addressing Parliament. Disraeli's advice was simple and to the point. Get up, say what you have to say, and sit down. That you honor me tonight as your outstanding alumni of 2005 is a recognition that is deeply humbling. You've given me a memory that will live in my heart forever. In my research of previous recipients, I've noticed that some alumni have been sometimes younger than myself, and I guess I just had to wait a little bit longer. But as with my age, I'm also mindful of the hour we're here tonight. It reminds me of what Ronald Reagan once said about the collision of time and age. He said that the definition of middle age is when you're faced with 2 temptations and you choose the one that gets you home in bed by 9:30. But if there's any doubt I needed a dose of humility, let me assure you that here with us tonight are my wife, Zareen, my mother, Barbara Eckert. Mom, I'm not reading, I'm speaking. My daughter, my children, my sister-in-law, Ellen, my nephews, my business partner, Diane Bannister, and my stepfather, Jerry Eckert, all of whom at many points in my life have successfully deflated my ego and reminded me of what Petersboro said of humility. It is easy to look down on others. To look down on ourselves is the difficulty. So when I tell you I'm humbled, my best example is given the high esteem that Springfield enjoys across the nation. I tell you quite candidly that considering my high school years, I'm not sure I would have gotten into Springfield College today. This tangible evidence is a testament to the high standards of Dick Flynn and the institution he leads today. But your mistake was overlooked in 1974. Gradually, very gradually, I assure you, I began to form a foundation of education and knowledge. To gain what Professor Tom O'Connor once told me were the 2 most important things from an academic environment: the ability to think and the ability to write. He said if you come away from college having gained these abilities, that your education was worth it. My education at Springfield, aided and abetted by Tom and Tom Shea and Jim Raganay, who are with us here tonight, and others, was worth it. If it wasn't for the education gained at Springfield, I would have never written my first book, which again, in and of itself, or anybody who's ever dealt with publishers and agents and sometimes less than stellar book signings, is also an education in humility. I've now begun to write my second book. This time it's going to be on Reagan's successful 1980 campaign. But I would never have gone on to have the chance to do so many things, meet so many people in politics and business and publishing, or do things in my community without the foundation of education and enterprise given to me by my family, my faith, and my college. Today we take college for granted, an entitlement. But 30 years ago, I was the first member of my family to attend college. The unhappy circumstances of the Great Depression and the noble causes of World War II and the Korean War prevented members of my family from attending the academy. But education was instilled in me from my formative years. I've mentioned to you my dear mother. My father, who passed away while I was a junior here, also instilled in me a belief in education. He was unable to share in our joy in 1978, so I think for myself, to Edward Shirley, I'm going to dedicate this award tonight. I spoke before of the Springfield family. I know of such an ideal from my own experience in dealing with the death of my father. My extended family, my classmates, professors, and the entire program reached out to me in that painful time. One especially poignant memory is when I went to see John Wilcox, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. And I was worried about how to pay for the rest of my education. John had met my parents, and he and my father immediately struck up a friendship. Without a pause, John told me not to worry about a thing. He would make sure I could stay in school. Of the present and future academies of America, I can only say that I hope all embrace the philosophy I learned here. The legitimate free exchange of ideas endangers no one. The censorship of any legitimate human thought endangers all of us. A great part of my humility springs from my faith, not inconsistent with ideas, but in concert with them. Of the college, many years ago in the old Boston Pilot newspaper, an editorialist wrote, quote, unless the great concepts which had been traditional to the Western world are rooted in a reasoned view of the universe and man's place in it, and unless this reasoned view contains in its orbit a place for the spirit, man is left in our day with archaic weapons unsuitable for the problems of the present. I have been given so much by so many, and I hope I have returned their kindness and charity in some small measure. But I'm still reminded of an old Chinese proverb learned here at Springfield. Quote, when I behold the sacred grass, my thoughts return to those who raised me, begot me, and now are tired. I would return the bounty they have given me, but it is as the sky. It is unreachable. Thank you, Mother, Serene, my family, my friends, and my friends at Springfield College. Those students here tonight, I say carpe diem. And if you don't know, I'll tell you what it means. It means seize the day. Don't waste a moment. Don't waste an opportunity. In whatever cause or community, whatever venue or venture you choose, seize the day. Thank you very much. I'm going to indulge myself here for one more moment. On behalf of my family, I'd like to present these small tokens of our appreciation to Springfield and Dick Flynn. Dick, would you mind coming up here? These are original invitations to the inaugurations of President Kennedy and President Reagan, which are gifts from the Shirley family to Springfield College. And as I was driving over here, it occurred to me that Irishmen make pretty good presidents, not just of countries, but also of colleges. Thank you.